to Honey Never Sleeps. It's a podcast that we've created just dedicated to sales, marketing, and business in general. I'm Ben, I'm the host, and I'm really excited to have my close friend here, Shuk Huay Koh, as our special guest. I know I butchered your name.
But we are close friends, right?
We're close friends. Shuk, introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, hi, my name is Shuk Huay. Most people call me Shuk, and I'm founder and CEO of Ocean Nexus. Currently the CIO of iSynergy Group, a public listed co in Australia as well.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
So Ocean Nexus, what's that about? What do you do?
Well, we are an agile development company. Basically, we build web applications and mobile applications for clients across 5 different countries today.
5 countries.
Yeah.
Wow. CEO, founder. I know you started about 7 years ago. Tell us a little bit about the early days. Like, if I was an aspiring business owner, how do I get started? What was your path?
Okay, so the story was that right out of uni, I was gonna start a business with 2 other friends. Okay, so we decided to just incorporate a company, and our very first project was from a dear uncle of mine. And we closed the project, and we were like, oh, okay, we've made it, right? Yeah. It was like $500. Yeah, and it was ringgit, okay, so like 500 ringgit, wow. Which is like $120 probably.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I think my advice is like start small. And what I did was go out to events, try to network, but like I was like a really little girl, right, going out to events and getting to know people and so on. But in the first year, we did grow a little bit. We started with the 3 of us, and then we hired our first 2, and we ended the year with about 7 people.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we did like, not much, but we did like 100K in sales for the first year. Yeah, ringgit. Yeah, and we were like, okay, we're on track. Yeah, so I think any growth or any progress in your early days, especially for your first business, to me it's like really good. Yeah,
and it's like, it's not exactly you're selling volume of product, you're developing custom made solutions, right?
Yeah.
I think when we were starting BeeCore, I was super excited when we got our first deal. I think it was £400, a little bit more than but I took my my wife out for dinner. We had champagne, just to say we were not like making money. Spend it all on dinner. And so obviously you're starting off. You mentioned a little girl, right? Going out, just fresh out of university, networking. I imagine you had a lot of challenges, you and your business partners. What kind of things were you facing?
All sorts, because like we started with no working experience. We wanted to do, like, we had like these illusions of grandeur, right? Like we're gonna be like multi-millionaires by the time we were like 25, and we were like 23 right? Back in the day. So we learned everything the hard way, the hard way. We did the first project, and then we took a complex project on. It didn't go super well, but we delivered. And then we realized like, oh gosh, we have to fix our quality, right? Our programming. Hired a bit more experienced people, like just the one.
Just one,
I say people, but like just the one. And then met a bit more in terms of like the networking and the clientele. We got a bit more. And again, through like a contact of mine, got our first website in the UK, in London, and then. Yeah, it just grew a little bit in that first year. Yeah, but by the second year, we met this PwC partner. So, you know PwC, right? Yeah.
Big 4?
Yeah, exactly. And he's a consultant, and he took a liking to me. Yeah, and I would say he was probably my very first mentor. Because he was like introducing me to people with like, like $1 million revenue, like you can build tech for them. It's time to charge them $1,000 an hour. I was like, holy crap, I charge like $250 per day. And so like that kind of got me going from a confidence boost, and the way we used to do sales and all that, it really changed. Like there was a real mental paradigm shift as well. And we just overcame obstacles as they came.
I was listening to a podcast. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about mentors. And so I was going to ask you about mentorship, because being young, not really knowing what you're doing, right? I still don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes you just learn. You learn as you go a lot of the time. But having a mentor obviously really guides you. It sounds like he had a big impact. How else? Like, he introduced you to customers, but have you had other mentors in sort of just the functionality of business, finance, HR, business coaching? How's that been for you?
Not in the early days. Like, this person, he really introduced me in the sales process, and also in how to value our services. Because we really in the beginning you really like undercharge. And I know you know what I mean. Yeah.
Shuk used to be a customer.
Yeah. He's really expensive now. No. Yeah. So anyway, so he sold us that goal, right, to get to $1,000 an hour, right, in ringgit, but still, and we tried. So we systematically raised our prices over time, and he was the guy where I have to give you a bit of context, right? Please. When I started the business, I was not doing sales. I wasn't even really sure what my part was in the business. So I was doing all sorts of things. I was doing like operations, project management. I was kind of doing the accounting. I was doing. I learned a bit of programming, hoping that I'd be really useful to the business one day. And then I met this guy, and he just opened my eyes and made me realize that I could do sales, right? And I think most businesses, like the showrunners, like the deal maker, right? You have to go out, get deals, do sales, and so on. So this person really sort of allowed me to grow during that time. Not saying we were experts or like we were really great in our delivery yet. There was like a whole other lessons, right? Like a whole other lesson where we had to go through projects, gain experience, and so on. But he was really the person that put us on the map, I would say. Yeah. So that was in 2016.
Okay.
So
2 years ago.
Yeah. So once he introduced us to like a bunch of clients, we made a deal with one, which was fairly large at that time. So that was a $250,000 deal. Yeah, which was like one of the biggest back then. And it really got us going for a good year, right? Just that one deal. And then we had like smaller projects and so on. The next year, which was about 2017, towards the end, it was very much in like blockchain, crypto. The industry really started.
That was when the boom,
Yeah, like ICOs and so on. And we had, I have a partner, Ray, and he's basically a blockchain guy as well. So we had that confidence to kind of go out and grab like ICO projects and so on. So in 2018 the start of 2018 was a very big year for us. Yeah, we had like $1 million like ICO project and so on.
Is this when you started to, your team's interest and passion led you to an ICP? Your ideal customer became, crypto, blockchain, maybe even NFT. Now you kind of going for the future tech. Yeah.
Like it gave us a bit of like that industry was that fringe technology at that time, right? And we really like took that leap of faith to kind of go in and grab it, right? Because I think most businesses, when you're having conversations with people in a very different industry, and they'll be like, have you done this industry before? And you'll be like, no, I no, right? And you turn it down, right? Yeah, but for us, we were like, oh, like, let's go in and let's grab it. And yeah, so that kind of was another growth moment, I think, for our company. Yeah.
I guess it also helps when you're scaling a business to be really good at one thing or really good at a couple of things, so that you can solidify, build a team around that, and I can just imagine how much growth that led for you.
Yeah.
So you were talking earlier that you were doing everything. You were a jack of all trades, and then this consultant sort of drove you into sales. But you said, sales, you didn't really think you could do it. How? Because there's a lot of listeners, people starting businesses now that maybe they're not strong at sales. What would be your advice? Someone to how do they start? How do they go? You know what? I can sell my business.
Oh man, okay, that's a good question. Well, for me, I can only speak from experience, right? But for me, it was very much like a confidence thing. I really believe that it's not, when it comes to sales, right? It's not about how much knowledge you have in the world of sales, It's about, having that balls to put yourself out there, to say hi, to build relationships and so on. I think in the early days, it was a really mental game for me. Like I go into a room and I'll be like, okay, who's gonna like me? Who's not gonna like me? That sort of thing. Yeah. And but I've always been really good as a presenter. Like naturally, I present things really well. PowerPoint decks and all that stuff, right? So I had a bit of confidence there, and it was just going in, building that relationship, and just getting to know someone. And I think that shift happened as well when I stopped thinking so much about myself and started thinking more about the person I was speaking to. Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I so many times, with sales reps out there, I think if you're just doing sales, you should listen to this, that if you talk about yourself, nobody cares. Yeah. And that could, just because it's you, it could also be your product, your service, etc. But if you talk about them, they care about them.
Yeah.
So of course, you've got to know who you're talking to. You've got to take an interest. And overcoming the fear, right? Yeah, it sounds like at first you'd walk into a room, you're like so scared of what these people would think of you, and you're so focused on the outcome already before you even had a conversation.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're a CEO or just a junior rep. They're a human being. So just you got to get out there, have conversations, show your passion.
Yeah.
So you've been working now for about 7 years on with Ocean Nexus, and now iSynergy as well. So 7 years, I guess you start to get a bit of a style, an entrepreneurial style, a business style, how you like to lead, how you like to run. What's that, and who's inspired you?
Oh, okay. So, my inspirations. No, I think I take lessons. Elon Musk. Yeah, he has a very interesting dating life. But anyway, no, I think I take a bit of lessons and inspiration from various different people. I do make it a point to never kind of idolize a single person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I learn a bit of everything from different people. Right, Elon Musk, right? Like the way he conducts meetings. Like really awesome. Yeah. Like his philosophy of in meetings, like Steve Jobs, right? The innovation and the boldness to kind of go out there and tell the market what they need as opposed to what they want, right? Like even local players like Grab. When Grab first started here, I was really impressed. There was a day where I was like, how did Grab start? And they were like an Uber competitor, and Uber's already big, right? How did they start marketing? Like, how do you even fight a giant, right? And interestingly enough, like the CMO that started with them, she just brought them to the ground. Like, they were doing a lot of road shows, groundwork, going into the rural areas and talking to the local community. And I think they localized really well. Yeah.
Which Uber would never have done.
Yeah, exactly. Like totally different culture, right? The way they did marketing for Uber and so on. So yeah, I think I tend to look at what I want to learn, who's the thought leader in that industry or field, and then I learn from those areas only.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Because I think you can take a little bit of something from everybody. We're ourselves, right? We can only be who we are. We can't just try to be Elon Musk, because he's a machine and that's how he runs. And I don't think I can be bold, but I don't think I'm as direct as someone like Steve Jobs, the way he can talk to people, right?
And you also kind of don't want to be that person's whole other self.
I'm just gonna copy.
Yeah. You don't want Elon Musk and his relationships, right? Like I said, you just want.
I don't know anything.
I don't know why I said that, but anyway.
But I do know that he just bought Twitter.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Let's just cut into some news.
Okay.
What do you think about that purchase?
I think he's crazy. Like when the news came out, I was so sure. I may be wrong after this, but I was so sure Tesla share prices was gonna drop. Yeah, because he needed Tesla share prices and the shares to fund the Twitter
That's where his
acquisition.
money comes from.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. So like, I think people are looking at it as like, whoa, like, you know, he's so big, he's so powerful, he can buy Twitter and so on. But just take a look at what's happening to Tesla shares.
I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah,
I'm no longer invested in Tesla, so I'll definitely.
Yeah.
But I think we have to keep an eye on what's going on in the world and the market. Certainly, as we're kind of, you know, you were talking earlier about the trends and sort of certainly from tech space. You guys are a tech company. You're building technology all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tech guy, investing in tech,
taking
over social media companies now.
Yeah.
But you know, as the head of a company, or when you're running a business, you know, we've got our responsibilities and obviously the welfare of our employees. So how do you do it all? You've got a busy day. I know you're super busy. You're always on the go. How are you kind of keeping all of that, thinking about growth, thinking about sustainability, thinking about your people? How do you bring it all together? How do you plan your day?
That's the thing, I plan my day. But I think most people don't. Quite honestly, I think most people don't plan their day. And I do. Of course, not super perfectly. Like there are times when I'm like, I'm just gonna take a nap, you know, and then like, you know, my whole day is like shifted and so on. But
you should move to WeWork. We have a nap room.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Should.
I know what I know what you're gonna say, but
I'm selling WeWork. A new job.
Yeah. No, but start with planning. You know. You know Kevin.
We both have a business coach. We just happen to have the same business coach.
Yeah, thanks
Kevin
to that. But so like I've been introduced to time tracking and all that stuff. The default diary. Okay, I think we may go into this a bit later, but basically start with planning your day, right? Because for me, I'm really disciplined about kind of like not when I'm gonna do something, not yet. I hope one day I can say I'm gonna do something at this exact time and stick to it. But I always have kind of like, I'm gonna do something by the end of the week and make sure that's done, right? So I think that's really important.
Yeah, planning your day. I think I tried to follow this as much as possible. So I've now got, you know, I take my whole week, pretty much every minute of my day is scheduled now.
Okay.
Just to keep me on top of things as well. It sounds like we've learned that from Kevin.
Yeah, definitely.
And goal setting, right? Like you need those objectives. It's kind of like, do you guys follow OKRs?
Like KPIs, right?
Yeah, they're kind of KPIs. Yeah, it's more like for an objective. So like I like to have OKRs. So if let's say I want to grow my business by 2x, yeah, that's great. I can say that all day long.
Yeah.
But what do I need to achieve? And there's different steps. And so then how do I bring that into my week, into my day? What am I thinking about? What am I doing? And I found that that's been really important. But how do you then instill that into your team, right? Because we can be highly functioning with plans and so on, but we need our team to be the same, right? And then also to not be overwhelmed and so on. How do you lead? How do you look after your people?
Okay, cool. So I make it a point to share the company goals and vision, right, to the team. And with Kevin, you know, we have like 90-day goals and so on broken down. But for me, it's always from the top down, kind of like, this is what we're gonna achieve during this duration, and then there's always like game plan, like what must we do to achieve it. There's always like a list of priority, because you want to do a lot, right, but you can't always. And I think one thing really important is to decide what we must do, and then what we will try to do, you know. And there will be areas where we know that we try and it doesn't work out, and we'll be fine with that. And so for me, it's always kind of like set the yearly goal and then break it down into quarters and then break it down into months and then, you know, the week and so on.
Okay. And then you sort of, how do you share that vision though? Is it, you know, you're doing town halls,
weekly town halls.
Weekly town halls?
Yeah, Monday mornings,
Cool. I can't do weekly town halls. I do it monthly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have different teams. They're obviously communicating, but me standing up in front of the whole team, we'll do it once a month. Once a week. Cool.
Yeah, but it's really short. It's like 15-20 minute town halls.
Oh, okay. That's much better.
Yeah.
Maybe we're doing it wrong. We're taking an hour.
Yeah.
It's not just me. Like I'll talk a little bit about some of the successes and failures of the month, because I want us to talk about failures too.
Yeah.
Because we share in the successes, but we should share in the failures
Yeah.
as well, so we can learn and grow. And then other people in the company will come on, like HR will talk about some of the things that we're up to, marketing and things like that. So, in your opinion, I guess someone's starting a company, they're looking to you for advice.
Yep.
What are the unseen risks that they should take note of? What risks have you had to deal with over the years?
Oh man, so many. Yeah, you mean there were months when we were just like a month away, right, from losing like all our money and so on. But I think like when you're starting a business, is for me today, is the risk of getting the right partner. I think that's, to me, like, it's so important.
The right business partner.
Yeah, the right business partner. Like I've always started the business. Like if I were to start businesses, I would always start with having a client first, or a customer, or a sale, or the intent to buy at least, right? So a lot of times I'm starting with no risk in that area. But man, like getting the right partner, I think is like the hardest thing to do. And the risk of going in with the wrong partner is really painful.
Yeah, partners.
Yeah.
Partners, I was talking about partners actually before with Kevin again. We're going to keep bringing him up. We need to tag Kevin.
Featuring Kevin.
Featuring Kevin Riley, but he's not here.
Yeah.
I tell you what, my biggest advice for anyone, get a business coach. It's life-changing. It really is. But yeah, so I was talking about partners with Kevin, and he was saying that the wrong partner is harder to sort of get rid of, should we say, not nice language, than a marriage or a wife.
Oh, really?
For example, it's like a divorce is easier than a business divorce.
Yeah.
And the wrong partner can cost you dearly.
Yeah.
And I think he's had some pain from it in his past. I certainly have. When I started BeeCore, I had a business partner, and we just weren't aligned, and it affected how we started. So having the right partner is really crucial. Is that how you always like to do business? You don't like to go in completely solo? You like to have people around you kind of in the trenches?
Yeah, I mean, like I've started with partners, right? I've never started a business alone.
Okay.
And I'm still with one of my Ocean Nexus partners from the beginning, which is Ray, right? And but we started with the three of us, and one of them we had to cut ties as well after the second year. And it's because, like, I think when you're not clear as to who's in charge of what someone brings to the table, it gets
roles.
Yeah, in terms of roles, then it gets a bit tough to kind of like, you take charge of this, like you take charge of that, and also kind of like the end goal.
Yeah.
Like bringing someone who can kind of see the same end goal as you, and work hard towards that same end goal is really tough, I'd say.
Yeah. You gotta have that shared vision, right? Like, and if somebody's just not on the same page, it's felt.
Yeah.
It really is felt.
Exactly. Yeah. And they may share the vision, and then turns out they're not capable enough. Then you're sort of like, there's so many things to check off, right? Before you even go into a partnership. And I wish I knew that when I was younger.
I agree. I've been thinking about some other projects and been thinking about partnerships and stuff, and the memory of pain has pushed me away from doing it, but I think I should be open to it again. I think it's very lonely running a business on your own.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a lonely person. But from a business side, the buck stops with you. You were talking about how in the first 2 years there were times where you could be bust in a month, and when you're dealing with that on your own, and you've got 20, 30, 50, 100 employees that you care about, there's a real responsibility, and having someone there with you, I think is a really wonderful experience. Of course, doing it on your own and succeeding or even failing has its own merits too. So if you could give yourself a piece of advice from back in the day, back maybe in the first couple of years, from all your learnings now, from your coaching, from everything. What would you tell young Shuk?
Choose your partners wisely.
Choose your partners wisely.
Yeah. No, really, I think like I get it, right? Like the process of running a business, learning things the hard way. Like I think some things are unavoidable. Like there are lessons where you kind of have to go through it, experience it, and then learn from there.
Yeah.
But picking your partners sometimes, like I think I could have done a better job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you as well. I used to talk about this. I think most human beings, we learn more from pain.
Yeah, definitely.
Like we fuck up, right? If we fuck up, we learn from that.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to have that experience again. And sometimes like it's about how you feel about a situation. Let's say something's in the business and something's happening, some problem, and it's making you emotional, you're stressed, you're upset, whatever it may be. You need to work to stop that, and then you know what you need to do to stop it happening again. You're more likely to do those tasks, those objectives, because you don't want to feel like that again. And I think pain is good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You've got to learn. My pain with partners has been probably a lot less than yours, but I think that's really good advice. Pick your partners wisely. What do you look for in a partner other than the right job role, following the vision? Like how do I, like, let's say suddenly I want a partner. How do I get one? Hi, Shuk.
Yeah. I don't know. Like that's really something I hope I get right in the future. Yeah. But like today, I really look at kind of what that person wants in life, what they're willing to work for, and then what they can actually do, right? As opposed to kind of me doing all of that alone, right? And that's what a partner should be. They should be a supportive kind of. A partnership. They need to bring equal or more value.
Yeah, there needs to be value on the table.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think it's kind of like hiring. You hire around your weaknesses, so you should partner around your weaknesses.
Exactly.
Too.
Yes.
Yeah. Because for me, I'm strong at sales. I'm strong at marketing mostly. I'm still learning a lot of different aspects, but I'm strong in that areas. And then I've had to learn a lot more about finance, human resources.
How are your finances?
Finances
like
are
numbers.
Love my numbers. That's some advice, right? Always look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Numbers can be quite scary, but the reality is they help you.
Yeah.
Make you make good decisions. So moving away from partners, what else would you do differently from the past?
I think knowing what I know today, I definitely be a bit more bold and quicker.
Okay.
Yeah, I think back in the day, it was a lot of like analysis paralysis, there's sort of like, I'm always overthinking, and I'm like, you kind of know that you won't know whether it's a right or wrong decision until you do it, and then you move on quickly. And I never did that in the beginning. Yeah, like today, my mindset is just, let's just do it. If we make a mistake, let's just move on, right?
Yeah.
And that's what agile is, right? And I try my best to be very agile when it comes to running any sort of business. Yeah. Quite honestly, yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm quite agile in the creating lots of ideas. My team behind the cameras will tell you I'm always going, can we do this? Let's do that. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got it, right? Of course, there are bad ideas.
There are. Yeah, there are.
There are bad ideas.
Yeah.
But you don't know unless you try them, right?
Yeah.
You don't know for certain. So 7 years, would you ever work for somebody else?
I kind of do work for someone else.
I suppose you do,
Yeah. Would I prefer working for someone else or for myself? Probably myself. Yeah.
I think running BeeCore has ruined me as an employee.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I couldn't go back now.
Yeah, I would work for people. Like it was never my intention to set out and do business and become the CEO and be the showrunner. And I was always a person that was really comfortable being in the background. I'm really happy when someone's kind of like oh, it's alright, I'll handle it, you know, that sort of thing. I mean, you have someone to fall back to, right? And you just need to, make sure things
You can blame them too.
Yeah, yeah,
This was your idea.
Exactly, right? No one wants to be the person in charge of everything, right? But that's what happens when you're like CEO.
It's true.
Yeah, so no, like if there's someone that I can learn from, grow from, and I can respect and work for, I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what it is, like I learn, I grow, I make money.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Money, honey never sleeps. Honey, money. There you go.
Very good, Ben.
Marketing. And I do agree with you, and the reason why I can't work for somebody else now is less about the learning aspect, but it's just it's not about control either. I think I just like that I'm building something that is mine and from the ground up, with my own two hands. Like my father built a business with his own two hands. His father did. My mother did it. She when she was in her 50s, started her own business. Many years ago, and she's still running it. And I love to see just being in control and in power of your own destiny. I really love that. I do still like to learn, and I do that through different relationships and networking and conversations and events and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my way of thinking.
Don't get me wrong. Like if I were to work for someone, I probably am thinking of it more of like a partner. Right? But someone take charge, right? Then I'll be like, yeah, it's your problem now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but to be a typical employee day to day, that would be quite tough for me as well. Honestly, I might be bored. Like, I think I get bored really easily.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Well, Shuk, it's been awesome. I've really enjoyed this talk.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime. You should come back soon.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out to Shuk, how can they get in touch?
Good question.
It'll be in the details, I suppose.
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
We'll put her telephone number on the screen.
My email as well. Yeah. Reach me through LinkedIn, I think.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's the best.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been another episode of Honey Never Sleeps. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.